You said, hi guys. I just saw the chat message. Hi guys. Happy Wednesday. Happy Hump Day.
Happy Wednesday. We are making it through, right? I'm making it this week. I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting there. But I'm here. I'm happy to be here to talk to y'all though.
Yes, and I know we have some Beehive fans, so that's why we want to do this live today. This is a little more like personal / legal tone to it. If you're new to our channel, we do lawyer reactions to trending topics. We also have other playlists like pre-law, law school and beyond, personal finance, TXE gets legal. So we have something for just about everybody. So if you're new here, drop in, give us a thumbs up so that it pushes out to the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't checked out our last video, we did a reaction to the Todd Chrisley getting convicted for fraud and bank fraud and something else. Check out the last video if you haven't already, but that was a popular topic. Today we're going to talk about, as you can tell by the title, we're going to talk about Beyonce. Is she going to have some new music coming out for all you Beehive fans?
Hopefully.
Talk about the drama with Saucy Santana. Talk about Blue Ivy. Blue Ivy going to the basketball game with her dad to see the Warriors play in the playoffs. What else is happening? They've been trending a lot this week. So between the supposed release of new music, everybody's anticipating that. Blue Ivy, Saucy Santana, they want him to apologize. All that's going on. So we wanted to jump on here, talk about that, and then talk about how, since we're lawyers, talk about how Beyonce, how you use the law to kind of get your coins up. So she's making sure she's using the law to her advantage, and I'm not mad at her. So if you're coming into the chat, make sure you shout out our TXE crew. Give us a shout out. We have Ab Mally, Peace Ladies. Let's stop. So make sure you check in the chat, and we're gonna do a little bit of trivia to see who our real Beyonce fans are. Tracy, are you like a?
Yes, I have my Beyonce T-shirt from one of her concerts. I Ain't Sorry tour. It was like years ago. I don't think this is back when I was still buying T-shirts at the concert. But anyway, yes, I'm a Beehive member. I have my T-shirt on. I don't know if you can see it, but I have my Beyonce concert T-shirt on, and I think I've been to almost all of her concerts since like 2000 and maybe 8. Except Lemonade. I miss Lemonade. I can't remember why, but yes, I'm a Beyonce fan, so I'm here for all of this. Y'all know she deleted her IG, so that's why they were saying she deleted it, because she's going to be putting a whole bunch of new stuff up there. So let's see. I went on there today actually just to check, and it was nothing on there. So let's see what's going to happen. I'm always checking for Beyonce, so.
I'm not part of the Beehive, so nobody come for me. I'm a fan of her music, but I can't say that I'm definitely part of the Beehive. The Beehive knows a lot about Beyonce, and they will come for you if you say anything about her husband, her kids, her mama, anybody.
Kelly, they all included. No?
What you say?
Kelly too.
Oh yeah, her sister Kelly. So yeah. So anyway, so I did a quick trivia for those of you who are hopping on. Just to see if you know if you're a real Beyonce fan, we're going to do a quick trivia, 3 questions, and then we're going to hop right into it. Make sure you chime in if you know any of the answers. Put it in the chat box, and we'll see, and then we'll jump right into what we came here for today. So let me just add it to the screen. Okay. All right. So, quick trivia. We'll talk a little bit about 5 times Beyonce slayed, but this is for our real Beyonce fans. So, hit up in the chat box if you know the answer to any. It's just 3 questions real quick. All right. So first question. What is the name of Beyonce's latest song? Not album, song.
The one that she did. The one for King Richard. I don't know the name. Don't come for me. I should know, right? The King Richard song.
Anybody know it? Put it in the chat box. I know people are coming in and out, but put it in the chat box if you know the name of Beyonce's latest songs.
No Googling.
Right. All right. I'll give you 1 more second, and then I'll announce the answer. And you're going to be like, oh, Tracy. So the answer is Be Alive.
That's it.
From the King Richard movie. Yeah. So I like the King Richard movie, and that was the song, and it was very popular. It was actually like trending audio on Instagram. People were making a lot of reels off of it. So Be Alive was her latest song. So that leads me into the next question. Those of y'all who are coming in, make sure you hop into the chat box so you can answer the next question. Next question, Beehive. Let's see. What is the name of Beyonce's latest album? Not the song. So the latest song was Be Alive. What's the name of the latest album? Anybody in the chat? Because I know the Beehive should know this. I feel like the Beehive should know this. Adam Malley said Be Alive. Oh, he was answering from before. Okay.
Oh, he was late. Well, you got that.
You got Be Alive from the first one. Now, what's the latest album? Anybody know? Judy said, hey, Judy, haha, I'm too old, so I don't care about the latest. You're not part of the Beehive, Judy. We can tell. All right. Ready? Drum roll. Brrr. Tracy, you should know this because you just was talking about it.
I listen to it all the time when I work out, but clearly I don't work out enough. I don't be knowing the names of albums, though. I'm terrible with that.
But. It's Lemonade.
Latest album?
Yes, in 2016, Lemonade.
No. Let me go on title.
Uh-huh. That's why everybody's itching for this new album to come out because they said we haven't heard any music in 6 years. Beyonce jams. That is not the answer.
I'm like, no. Is that her? Maybe she's put. No, that's not Lemonade. You can move to the next question. I'm doing some title research that I listen to my Beyonce.
Okay,
song.
Last question.
Beyonce is going to be coming for me.
What are the names of all of Beyonce's kids? And there's a bonus if you know how old they are. Make sure you put it in the chat if you know Beyonce jams. You are not even trying that, Valerie.
Not at all.
Oh, Lord. Anybody know the names of Beyonce? All of Beyonce's kids. So it kind of give you them, if you were on the fence about it, she has more than one. So that kind of gave away a little bit that she has more than one. And do you know how old they are? Vivian, I am not part of the Beehive. You are not. Somebody has to be on the chat that is part of the Beehive to say who are the names of Beyonce's kids. Come on now.
Sorry.
Let's see.
Maybe I should play it while y'all think.
Tashika, Blue Ivy, Rumi. Okay, we got a Beehive. That's what I'm talking about. Blue Ivy is the oldest. Rumi and Sir. All right. The bonus is how old are they? Oh, Ad Mally has it. Did you look it up?
I know. Did you look at the last?
It's a little long. Is this the little girl that looks like Jay-Z named Blue or something? Yeah, Blue. Oh, yes, Judy. Blue Ivy is the oldest one. So I gave y'all a clue. Blue Ivy is the oldest. And then there's Rumi and Sir, and they're twins. Anybody?
I don't know how old they are. I would be guessing.
10, 4, and 2. Well, no, I just said that they twins. So the last two gotta be the same age.
Let me guess. Let me say, are they maybe 4 at this point? I'm guessing though. I don't know how old Blue Ivy is. Okay, so nobody knows the age. So Blue Ivy, I believe, turned 10 in January. And I think Rumi and Star just had a birthday on the 13th, and they turned 5. Oh, okay. I was off with them. Yes. Please don't listen to me. Okay, so we have some people who are part of the Beehive and some who are clearly not. It's okay. But yeah, that was just a little icebreaker to start out to see who our real Blue Ivy fans are. Did you find what you were looking for, Tracy? No, I did not give up. I got into the trivia people and I gave up on what I was okay. All right. Okay, Tashika, Blue Ivy is sitting twins. So yes, she answered correctly. So yeah, real Beehive. We gotta do next time. We'll have a little prize for those who win the trivia game. But that was just a little icebreaker. We're gonna get right into the 5 ways. We're gonna keep this short. We're gonna go in and out. The 5 ways Beyonce slayed. We're obviously attorneys. Well, if you're new to the channel, you don't know. We're attorneys, so we're looking from a legal perspective because you can use the law to your advantage and. Beyonce has definitely done that. Tracy, you want to start off with the first way Beyonce has slayed, and I'll bring it up. I'll share the screen, whichever one you pick first. Yeah, so let's talk about trademarking because it's important for celebrities and small businesses. We talked about that a little bit too, but she won the trademark for Blue Ivy's name in the brand in 2020. So one person actually asserted a challenge to her trademark application. Her name was Veronica Morales. So this lady had a wedding event planning company called Blue Ivy Events, and she had said that she actually had registered the Blue Ivy name with the United States Patent and Trademark Office, so USPTO, in 2012 for the mark Blue Ivy. So it was interesting when I was reading about it, and I won't go too deep into it. Beyonce won, just to keep it short and simple. So they were able to trademark Blue Ivy, and for various different things, for goods, services, clothing, baby, pacifiers, all sorts of things. So they definitely got their patent or trademark to cover a wide variety of goods and services that they may or may not create later on under the Blue Ivy mark. One of the big things that Veronica Morales' attorney brought up when they were challenging it and going through the litigation is actually the Trademark Appeals Board that makes the decision. So the Trademark Trial and Appeal Board is who made the decision on Beyonce winning the Blue Ivy mark. But one thing that Veronica Morales said is that Jay-Z, her attorney said on her behalf, is that Jay-Z had actually given an interview back in 2013. And during that interview, he said that they never intended on using Blue Ivy for providing goods and services, also for actually branding. And one of the big things with trademarking is you have to show that you had an intent to actually use. So what they don't want is people just trademarking stuff just to trademark it. They never have any intention of using it. And basically they're preventing other people from using it by trademarking it, but they're never going to do anything, never going to enter into commerce with that mark anyway. So what Jay-Z said during the interview, which I thought was interesting, I'll read it to y'all. So he said, people wanted to make products based on our child's name, and you don't want anybody trying to benefit off your baby's name. It wasn't for us to do anything. As you see, we haven't done anything. First of all, it's a child, and it bothers me when there's no boundaries. I come from the streets, and even in the most atrocious things we were doing, we had lines. No kids, no mothers. There was respect there. But now there's no boundaries. For somebody to say this person had a kid, I'm going to make a stroller with that kid's name. It's like, where's the humanity? So her attorney tried to use that and say, look, they missed the element. They had no intent to ever use that name, that mark, Blue Ivy. But the Trademark Appeals Board said that they couldn't use that statement from Jay-Z. One, because Beyonce was the one who filed, and Jay-Z wasn't a party to the litigation. And also it was hearsay within hearsay, because the magazine article that the interview came from wasn't authenticated. And, obviously it's hearsay based on Jay-Z saying it and not the person who was actually applying, which was Beyonce. So it didn't work. It was clever, though. I was like, it was clever because he definitely was clear, like, we're just doing it just to do it because we don't want anybody else using her name, but it failed anyway. One thing that I was thinking about, though, is, Veronica Morales, whoever she is, she's a regular person like you and me, and for her to even be able to have the means to hire an attorney to try to fight, I thought was, pretty commendable. But are you really going to win against Beyonce and Jay-Z?
Well, I think too, don't they? When I was reading that article, I thought they said that so she opposed the application and they survived the opposition, but then they still have to prove that they're going to actually use it for, like, they have to put out merchandise and things of that nature to show that that's what they're going to use it for. So I think they still have to have a burden of doing that before they can be officially registered. So they kind of survived. It's kind of like you survive a summary judgment motion, but then you still have to do some more proof to win. So I thought that, that's the equivalent of that she won the smaller battle, right? But as far as she still has to prove that, even based on him saying that we're not going to use it, they I think actually had to put out Blue Ivy Carter products. And I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I know what's the name of their beehive? If y'all on the chat, what's the name of Beyonce? What is it?
Ivy Park.
Ivy Park, right? So they're not even using Blue Ivy Carter. They're using variations of it. So I don't know if they'll end up pursuing that for real, because they still have to prove they're going to use it. They can't just use, like, hold it out so nobody else can use it. It's almost like when people buy land just so nobody can use it to develop it, right? Because, I mean, you technically can do that, but in the intellectual property world, you have to prove that you're not just using it to hold it up. Like, you have to use it in some kind of commercial way. So it's going to be interesting to see if they actually try to develop that even further. But yes, that was a big win in that respect, that they can perhaps now use it to monetize off of it. So if you guys are just joining us, we're talking about Beyonce and some of her legal slang, right? So that she's using the law. We're lawyers, and she's using the law to her benefit to help make more money for her. And, you know, at the base of it, contract law is going to be kind of what you'll see in a lot of the entertainment worlds. Contract law is what's going to regulate and have her making her money. Like you make a deal with somebody, offer acceptance, and you're making your money. So that was the first one. So Tracy took the first one. Let me share the screen so we can talk about the second one. And I think some people may have heard about this. And that is when she sings it in her song, one of her songs where she's like, again, I'm not part of the beehive, where she's talking about she'd rather have equity. And let me see. When she's talking about she'd rather have equity, and she's talking about she's schooling everybody for the fact that when you opt to have equity versus getting paid in cash, you perhaps can make more money. So we talk about personal finance on this channel, and we talk about stock investing, right? And how you can grow your wealth from investing in stocks. That's one way. There's many ways to do it, but stock is one of the portfolios you should have in addition to real estate and other things, right? So what happened is that Beyonce was, she was performing at a concert at Uber, and she was going to get compensated for the performance. But instead of taking the cash, she opted for equity in the stock. They were going to go public, and this is back in 2019? They were going to go public. So instead of getting $6 million in cash, she's like, no, I want to have unrestricted stock before you go public.
Well, actually, originally 2015. It was originally 2015.
Oh, 2015?
The equity, yeah. And
okay.
Then, yeah, they were talking
they went public, right? In 2019?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So she, when they went public, that $6 million that she would have gotten for her performance turned into quickly a lot more. And so there were several people that did it, right? There were other celebrities that were getting in on the unrestricted stock. They weren't like the regular people like you and I who had to pay for the stock or IPO at a higher rate. They came in before it happened, so they were able to make bank. She was able to make bank off of that because she made this deal. Again, using contracts, right? Using contracts to say like, no, I want to negotiate something different. And even when you're doing your jobs, I know sometimes when you're getting job offers for just your regular job, you can also negotiate salary compensation, any stock portfolios they may give you. Same way you get 401ks, things of that nature, you can negotiate that. And so that's part of your total compensation package. So she was smart enough to know to be forward thinking to say $6 million today is not going to be $6 million in the future. You know what might be more than that? Some equity in this company that's about to go public, and this $6 million is going to more than quadruple. Like
in 2019 it turned into $9 million. That's what they were saying. So her $6 million. So I had to do the math because I was like, let's put that in terms of us regular people. If you invested $60,000 in 2015 like she did, or if you got equity like she did in 2019, you would have $90,000. So I mean, that's a big jump. You're not going to get that type of return on most regular investments, even like 401ks or Roths or things like that. You're not going to have that kind of jump in that amount of time. So
right. So I think, and I thought it was more than 9, but I mean, at minimum 9 million.
That's what they said in 2019. They were saying that there were rumors. So I guess it wasn't exactly, they didn't have a confirmation on it. Some people were saying, I read articles that were saying it was 300 million, but they were saying it wasn't exactly that. It was more around 9 million. So, I mean, maybe if you guys in the chat that are in the chat with us have heard more on that, but I was seeing all sorts of conflicting information about people saying it was 300 million, and they were like, it wasn't quite that much, but it was a big jump, and it was a good investment for her to do that instead of getting cash for the performance.
Right, because a lot of people will be like, no, give me the cash now, and that's so short-sighted in your thinking, right? To say, give me the cash now, not to realize like having an investment and having some equity in a company perhaps can pay off more than what you would be in cash. So wait a little longer, you can perhaps get a lot more. So she was smart in using that tool, doing a contract, having entertainment lawyer represent her in that respect to make sure it recognized her interest, her best financial interest. Hey, Debt-Free Dad, her and Hove had an interest in Uber before the IPO dropped, right? So that's how they benefited from it, because they weren't like the average Joe like you and I, who perhaps did invest in Uber, but after the IPO, and I think it listed at $45. I don't know what it's trading at right now, but it would be interesting to see kind of like the difference between when it first went public versus now. And most of the people, you make the money as soon as the deal drops. Like those people are the ones that make the average person still can make money. Tracy and I, we've invested in IPOs in the past before, and we made some money. But the real money is made for those people that got in before it went public and then just held on to it when it went public. And it's like, voila. Mm-hmm. So that's number 2 as far as ways Beyonce has slayed. Tracy, we want to take the next one? What's the next one?
Yeah, so she has had a few lawsuits against her.
Okay.
For Formation. So we can talk about that one next.
Okay, let me see.
So Formation, she did the song, obviously Beehive members, and it was popular. So now Beehive members probably know too. Formation, the song, and she did a video. I read about 2 actual lawsuits that were against her. One was settled. So she had one lawsuit against her from a local rapper's estate. Now the local rapper from Louisiana, he was actually gunned down. So his estate, his only surviving heir was his sister. She brought the lawsuit against Beyonce for clips out of his music that he had. I think he had some music on YouTube, and she used some clips in her Formation videos and Lemonade videos and recordings. She actually settled that lawsuit. A lot of times when companies or people settle lawsuits, you'll see that the lawsuit is going on, the litigation is going on, then all of a sudden it just says it's dismissed. That usually means if there's no type of motion that was decided on by the court or whatever, you don't have to file, and you usually don't file confidential settlement documents with the court. So she would go ahead and settle those out of court, and then all you would see available publicly is that the lawsuit was dismissed. So that case was settled out. They said it was a $20 million lawsuit, and it was dismissed after about a year after the suit was first filed. So that's actually, in the litigation world, a year to settle that type of lawsuit is really not a long time. Some of these lawsuits go on for 2 to 3 years. We won't know how much they settled it for, but if they file for $20 million, it's not out of the realm of possibility that they could settle for a fraction of that. Sometimes, people will bring lawsuits. It's expensive to litigate. These are, breach of contract or copyright infringement cases. Most attorneys in those cases charge by the hour. It gets very expensive. So if you don't have an attorney that's doing contingency, which means I get paid if you get paid, it could get very expensive. And then sometimes people just decide to settle out. And it could have been beneficial for the estate of Messy Maya, that was the rapper who brought the lawsuit, or the estate that brought the lawsuit, and for Beyonce as well. So then right after that, she got hit with another lawsuit from now I don't know too much more about the details, but I know it was a local New Orleans resident who had stayed behind after Hurricane Katrina to kind of wait out the storm with her husband, and had made some recordings of, what was going on, video recordings of what was going on in Louisiana during that time. And Beyonce used those clips in her video, her Formation video. So that was what that second lawsuit was about. And Larita, do you know what the outcome was of that? Did they?
I think I was pulling up the wrong one when you were talking. I think I was pulling up that one.
Okay.
Is that the choreographer?
The Trouble the Water. I think it was, I don't know if it was a documentary or what that she used the clips out of, but it was clips from the Hurricane Katrina disaster.
No, I don't know if I had that one up.
Okay, so that's the second lawsuit that was brought against her. And let me see. I don't know what the resolution was on that one yet, if it settles. The lawsuit stated, in addition to money losses, the improper use of Roberts, that was the person who owned the footage, is causing a great and irreparable injury that cannot be fully compensated by or measured in money. So essentially what that means in lawsuits like that is they're probably looking for an injunction to stop her from using that, not just money. So they want to be compensated for what injury has already happened, but they also want an injunction. So they want the court to tell Beyonce, you can't use these anymore because you didn't have the rights. Oh, and I think part of that lawsuit was she initially got licensing. So a lot of times when artists will sample from regular people or other celebrities, they get a licensing agreement in the beginning, but there's also a royalty agreement that person continues to get paid after, if Beyonce uses it, let's say in the original video, fine, you got the licensing agreement for that. But if she used it in her concerts, in other interviews, things like that, in other things that weren't included in that original licensing agreement, she could be sued for that, because that could be basically not within the scope of the original agreement. Right. So that was part of what Roberts, the owner of the footage, was saying. Yes, we gave her license to use it in the original Formation video, but then she continued to use it. We were supposed to have a royalty agreement if she continued to do that, and she hasn't paid us any royalties to date after the original Formation. So I'm not sure what happened. If any of you have been following that, comment in the chat box below and enlighten us on where it is now. But that's basically 2 big lawsuits that she had. But, it takes money to make money.
Right. And I think that happened with another one too, because that's why I was pulling up the different article. It was a choreographer who they used her voice as part of the promo, and she said she gave him permission for that, but then they also used it on the album, and she said, I didn't give him permission to use my voice on the album. This is the Black Effect album 2018. Okay. She said that she was told that she spoke on tape about her feelings about unconditional love, and she said she was told her thoughts would only be used in a promotional video. Then it was used on the couple's joint album, Everything Is Love. And so she didn't get credit for it. So she ended up suing her for copyright infringement, but she ended up withdrawing the case. She can refile again if she wants to, but she withdrew the case at this point. So in that sense, it's a win, a temporary win, but I don't know what ended up happening with the one you're talking about. It might have been a similar thing where they may have, dropped it for now. They may decide to pick it up later. So let me hop in the chat, because I see people are talking. Larita, Beyonce's last album was Homecoming, according to Tashika. Okay, correction. Homecoming.
I'm Lemonade, because I know I listen to Beyonce's album when I run, which is very infrequently. But I know it's not Lemonade.
All right, so correction. It's Homecoming. Was her last album. Mm-hmm. She low key stole Carrie Hilson swag, producer and all. Okay. Debt Free Dad. Come on, I can't say yay or nay on that one. If you got you a lawyer, you gotta back it up with receipts if you're gonna say stuff like that.
Don't come for B, Debt Free Dad. Don't come for B.
She's part of Beehive. I'm not. I still like Beyonce, but you gotta back it up. You know better than that. Let's see.
I saw a question in settlement and admission of guilt. No, I mean, usually, honestly, in settlement agreements, they usually put specifically that this is not an admission of guilt. So that's one of the first, what we call recitals. It's like a few sentences in the top of a settlement agreement. A big one is usually confidentiality. Another big one is, this is not an admission of guilt. We don't admit that we did anything wrong ever. We are right. However, we are going to pay this money to shut you up, essentially.
Because it could cost them less money just to settle, even though you might be right. I mean, for real, that's the translation of it. But in reality, y'all knew y'all was wrong. Let's just be clear. But legally speaking, this is not us admitting to anything. This is us trying to take the cheapest way out of this legal disagreement. So, yes.
Yeah, it's a business decision for the most part.
Don't come for me. Every day, don't even. The Beehive is strong. We were talking earlier. If you just are coming in on the conversation, we were talking earlier about how they're coming after Saucy Santana for talking about Blue Ivy they dug up some Twitter stuff. He said back in the day, Blue Ivy is all 10 years old, and he was talking about something when she was a toddler. So they don't forget. We don't say nothing disparaging about her mama, her husband, her kids, her sister, her friends, nothing.
Her nail color, nothing.
All right, so let's get into the last two. We're gonna wrap this up real quick. The last 2 ways. I think my screen is freezing
a little bit. Yeah. So the one of the. Oh, so which one did you want to do first, Larita?
We can do the Peloton.
Okay. So I'll let you take this one, because I know a little bit about it, but.
All right, let's see. Y'all can see the screen for the Peloton one. So just like we talked about how she asked for equity when she was doing her I lost my train of thought.
Her Uber IPO.
Uber IP. So she also has, so if you guys are interested in being entertainment lawyers, there's a whole market for that. So she has attorneys on retainer that represent her interests when she's doing other deals. And so one of the attorneys she has got her a deal with Peloton, where basically if you're Peloton is the bike, it's the in-house bike.
Well, they have different. They have a bike, they have a treadmill, but it's a very expensive and
it's kind of stationary bike, the stationary bike one.
Yeah, workout equipment.
So this guy, David Land, who works at Ziffrin Brittingham law firm and went to Penn Law, he was part of the deal that Beyonce got with Peloton, which includes free 2-year memberships for students at 10 HBCUs, and basically has a deal for her music to stream through Peloton. So like the workout industry is a very lucrative business, and for her to have a deal to have her music streaming exclusively through them for a deal, that is just more money in her pocket, right? So she did a deal with that, and that was through, like I said, an attorney negotiating that with her through Peloton. And also the fact that she wanted to have HBCU students benefit from it. Was 10 of them, because there's more than 10 HBCUs, but have HBCU students benefit from that was a win for her, because like she also obviously is gaining something from it, but she's also trying to find ways to give back. So last one before we keep her name out of your mouth. I told you that, free dad, don't you do it.
It was coming. And I was reading, because I was like, now do these HBCU students have to have Pelotons? No, it was, they could use it through the app. So they didn't have to actually have the Peloton, right? It's like thousands of dollars.
Right.
They could use it through the app, which was cool. The last one is now I know y'all seen Coachella in 2018. Even if you're not a Beehive member, you can admit that was a phenomenal piece of artwork. But anyway, she got a lot of money between the deal, Coachella and Netflix, for that to Homecoming, the kind of documentary series of her filming Coachella and the Coachella performance on Netflix. $60 million deal, y'all. Beyonce is always about her paper, and she is in good company with Netflix. Netflix gives out the cash. We got Shonda Rhimes has $100 million deal. Shonda does Grey's Anatomy and How to Get Away with Murder. And then there's Ryan Murphy. He's another one. He got $250 million deal with Netflix. He does like American Horror, Glee, those shows. Chris Rock, Dave Chappelle have all gotten multi-million-dollar deals with Netflix. So Beyonce is on her way with them. She's supposed to do 3 projects. So Homecoming was the first one. I was trying to do some research because I'm like, Homecoming, I know it was 2018. I haven't seen anything else yet. So she's supposed to do 2 more projects with Netflix under that deal. So, if you break it down, about $20 million per deal. So Beehive members, we looking out. Like what's next? Because Coachella, Homecoming on Netflix is everything. We watched it as a family. I watched it by myself. I watched it again. So looking out for Beyonce. But like Larita was saying, that is another virtue of contract. She had her attorneys negotiate a great deal for her between Coachella and Netflix. And obviously we benefit by being able to watch on that streaming platform if you have Netflix. So
right. And obviously her attorney took away a nice little portion of that for negotiating the deal. So if you're interested in entertainment law, there's a lot of money to be made if you take that route. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button if you're tuning in, so that the YouTube it can send out to YouTube algorithm. And if you're new to our channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you can see new videos. We try to put out something new every week. Anything else from the TXC crew? We don't have a Beehive, we have a TXC crew. Anything else from the crew before we close out? Thank you guys for joining and engaging today. I'll give one more minute and then we're going to close out, and we'll see you in the next video. And shout out to everybody who engaged in the chat box today.
Yes,
Debt-Free Dad, Sharon, Tashika, Vivian, Judy. So thank you all for engaging. Ad Mally, thank you all for engaging in today's chat today. And correction, so I made sure I corrected myself on the trivia. Homecoming was her last album instead of Lemonade. All right. Thank you guys for tuning in today. We'll see you in the next video.